All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just wrapped up my first full season outfitting, and my God, did I learn a lot this year.
Send it.
Now, before we get into the lessons from this year, I want to let you know that if you stay tuned until the end of this video, I'm going to let you know how you can enter to win this SIG Oscar 6 image stabilized spotting scope. So a quick bit of background. I started guiding 3 years ago for my buddy Lander. That let me know right away this was something I was really interested in doing. I found it super rewarding. I enjoyed the challenge. I enjoyed hanging out with hunters, and it gave me an opportunity to help other people achieve their goals, which is always something I've enjoyed a lot. Now, my outfitting journey started by buying Lander's Alberta archery mule deer tags. After that, I met a guy that I leased some bear tags off of in BC. And when the sales started going really well, I realized I wanted to get my own concession. So just at the beginning of last year, I purchased 75% of a fairly large concession here in British Columbia. It's about 1,000 square miles or 3,000 square kilometers, and it's comprised of 2 full management units. Now, within that territory, I guide black bear, mule deer, and goat primarily, but I'm also looking to add lions, lynx, bobcat, and wolf here in the next year or two. In fact, I'm headed out scouting at the end of this week to go look for cat tracks. Then, in a pretty interesting turn of events, I ended up selling the original Alberta tags that I bought, and just last week closed a new deal on an entirely new territory in Alberta. Very promising. The last outfitter had almost 100% success rate in there. Really big deer, lots of public land, which is kind of rare for Alberta in that area where we kind of do that coulee style archery deer hunting, which is nice for me because it's always a stressor as an outfitter having to worry about, getting access to private land for your clients. And so I'll have more news on that as I kind of really start to push those hunts, but I'm super excited for building and developing that new territory in Alberta as well. So basically this year across all the territories, I had 12 clients. I had black bear clients, 1 goat client, 3 mule deer clients in BC, and 2 mule deer clients in Alberta. And across all 12 clients, we ended up killing 10 animals. So overall, an astounding year. And like I said at the opener, learned a ton of lessons. Now, for next year, I already have 32 clients booked. So to say things have taken off, and the clients this year were happy and wanted to rebook, and just as a general signal that everything went well, the growth trajectory is pretty wild. So before we get into the lessons learned, let me go over what I've actually got available left in 2026. So my black bear season runs from the last week of April until the second week of June. And right now I still have 3 spots available. For mule deer in British Columbia, I only have 1 spot available, and it's possible that I have 2 spots available left for archery mule deer in Alberta, but there's already 2 guys that have expressed interest, so it's also quite possible that those spots have already been filled. As I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, I am running a once-a-year discount for the month of December. This video is going to go live on Monday, December the 29th, and I'm actually going to extend the sale until Friday, January the 2nd at midnight Pacific time. So here's the deal. For my remaining black bear and mule deer spots in 2026, I am offering a discount of $500. If 2 people book together, I'm increasing that discount by $250, so you could get a potential discount of $750 off per person. But you must book those hunts for the 2026 season by Friday, January the 2nd at midnight. If you want any more information on any of those hunts, you can email me at j@mindfulhunter.com. All right, enough business talk. Let's get into the hunting. Lesson number 1, know your ground. I have said it time and time again over the last couple of years. Probably the single biggest mistake when I got into hunting was spending too much time jumping around all over the place. I got addicted to these like epic adventure hunts, going to new places, seeing different country all the time. And that resulted in lowering my overall success for a really long time. When you are outfitting and guiding in an area, you are going back to the same spots again and again and again. And what you realize is like honey holes are not necessarily as rare as you think they are. Finding them is a function of spending enough time in a given piece of country that you actually get to see the animals execute like full behavioral patterns. Like, I can think of areas that I drove past 20 or 25 times and never saw anything. And then one day I saw a critter. And then so I just put that in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I saw something over there. And then 2 or 3 times later, I saw another critter there. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. That's more than just a one-off. Then once that spot gets on your radar, you start paying more and more attention to it. But if you're just cruising through the landscape, or if you only go hunt one mule deer area, 1 year or 2 years back to back for 4 or 5 days each year, and then go off to a whole new area, you're not giving yourself a chance to develop the country. There's no secrets. These animals aren't hiding, and they are pretty normally distributed throughout the landscape. And so I think finding animals is less about these lottery tickets of finding these little magic pockets than it is about consistently observing large tracts of the same landscape, looking for behavioral patterns, taking mental notes, and then drilling down into these smaller kind of micro topographical areas once you've noticed like a consistent behavioral pattern in that area. And the only way to figure that out is to go back to the same country again and again and again. Lesson number 2, don't leave animals to find more animals. Your brain will trick you into thinking the grass is always greener, and it's not. I am gonna give you a prime example. So I had a bear client this year. It was late in the evening on the 2nd or 3rd day of the hunt. We were just about to exit this one logging complex and kind of go over the ridge into a whole new area. We spotted a bear at like 900 yards away. Kind of made this mad dash. We got all the way over there. We were just closing in. We thought maybe we'd blown him out. We kind of stopped paying enough attention for maybe 30 seconds, and then he kind of popped up out of nowhere. The hunter forgot his safety was on, couldn't get a shot off, and then the bear blew out. Now, when we got back to camp that night, we kind of said to ourselves, oh, I'm sure that bear's gone. We might as well pack up camp and we'll go somewhere else and look for more bears. So that's what we did. The next week, when a new hunter came in, I went back to the same area. I knew what time I had seen that bear and exactly where I'd seen that bear. So I got us to a different vantage point, and literally within 15 minutes of when I thought that bear was gonna come out, right at 6:45 p.m., he comes out into the exact same cut block. So we make our play, wind was terrible, we got within like 125 yards of the bear. Bear blew out again. Only this time I said to myself, listen, this happened last week and the bear ended up coming back. So I'm not gonna run away. I'm not gonna go look for more ground. We're gonna go back to camp, have dinner. We're gonna wake up tomorrow and we're gonna hunt this bear in the exact same way again. So we literally went back to the exact same vantage point, and it was literally within 10 minutes of the exact same window the next night. Bear comes out again in the exact same spot, in the exact same cut block. We were able to close the different distance and hammered an absolutely gorgeous, huge black bear. Animals are much more habitual than you think they are, and you need to pretty aggressively blow animals out for them to just leave the country. And so I think if I was gonna err on one side over the other, I would rather come back again the next day and the animal not be there and be like, okay, fair enough, now I'll go someplace else. Then every time you have a missed encounter, use that as an excuse to just go somewhere else. Lesson number 3, and this is the big one. Stop making it such a big deal. Just go to work. When I stopped making hunting such a big deal and just woke up in the morning, tied my boots, had a cup of coffee, went out in the field, hunted as hard as I could until dark, came home, went to bed, and then rinsed and repeated that exact same thing day after day after day, critters just started dying. Now let me explain why. There's these two guys, Kahneman and Tversky, these two famous researchers. They have this really seminal book called Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. And their proposed model for how the brain works is in System 1 and System 2 thinking. Now, System 1 is fast, intuitive, and emotional. It's the part of your brain that kept your ancestors alive. Snap decisions, gut reactions, pattern recognition. If something rustled in the bush 10,000 years ago, you didn't sit down and have this big contemplative moment about it. You ran away because that was the reaction that was going to keep you alive. That is System 1. Intuition is simply pattern recognition. It's your brain seeing similar patterns produce similar outcomes time and time again. That creates a gut reaction that then you follow. It's great when it works until it doesn't. And it's excellent at keeping you alive, but it's not necessarily so great at helping you achieve your goals. Now, System 2 is slow, deliberate, and logical. It's the system that we use when we're problem solving, analytically thinking, looking at sign, or thinking about things long term. The catch is System 2 takes energy, time, and focus. It is very calorically expensive. And under stress, the brain does not want to give you the resources for that slow, deliberate thought. So in a hunting context, pressure flips the switch back to System 1. You're sleep deprived, you're behind schedule, you're running out of time, you haven't seen enough animals, time, pressure, anxiety, all of these things are mounting against you. Instead of calmly reevaluating the game plan, your brain kicks over into System 1 and produces an instinctual response. You rush glassing. You bounce around areas looking for a Hail Mary. You fall back to old spots even if they don't currently have the sign that would give you confidence that there's any actual animals there right now. This is where heuristics and biases creep in. Your brain is trying to save energy and make you feel like you're taking action. But action isn't always accuracy. What I mean by that is just because we are doing something, if we're not doing the right thing, that something could be driving us further from our actual goal instead of closer to it. The key is to slow things down. Zoom out. Ask better questions. Recognize when you're reacting instead of thinking. Because success in the field does not go to the guy who moves the fastest. It goes to the guy who can think the clearest and make the best decisions. So here's the deal. As I mentioned, in System 1, there's a bunch of biases. And I think if I just ran through a laundry list of these, it would help you notice in yourself when these start to creep in. Number 1, availability heuristic. You rely on what's most easily remembered, not what's most relevant. For example, we killed a bull in this basin last year, so it must still be good, even if conditions or sign don't support that. Confirmation bias. You look for evidence that supports your existing belief and ignore what contradicts it. I knew this cut block would be productive while ignoring fresh sign or wind that says otherwise. Sunk cost fallacy. You continue investing in a bad plan because you've already spent time or effort on it. We've hunted this valley for 4 days, we can't leave now, even though there's been no fresh sign. This is why I only let myself take 2 to 3 days worth of food with me into unproven areas, because if I take more food, I'm more likely to convince myself to stay even if it's not worth it. And I can always run back to the truck and get more food if the area proves productive. Optimism bias. You overestimate the chances of success, especially under stress. Just one more ridge. There has to be something there, despite clear signs of low animal density. Action bias. You feel a need to do something rather than pause, think, or observe. Constantly changing locations, glassing too quickly, or calling aggressively without having a strategy. Recency bias. You give too much weight to what just happened. We bumped a bull in here yesterday, so we should camp here again. even if the wind and pressure have since changed. Bandwagon heuristic or social proof bias. You copy what others are doing because you assume they know something you don't. There are brute tracks going in there, so it must be good, instead of relying on your own scouting or intel. And finally, choice fatigue. The more decisions you are forced to make, especially under stress or time constraints, the worse your decision quality becomes. You will end up with choice deferral, which for most people means quitting. So the trick here is to make as many decisions as you can before you go, so you have to make as few decisions as possible while on the hunt. The best example I can give of this is in your mapping preparation. For example, if I'm going on an archery elk hunt, I literally want 20 to 25 different spots well mapped out. So as I hit stumbling blocks, if I go to spot A and it's dead, it's not this big, thoughtful, oh, what do I do next? Deliberate, debate, have conversation. It's like, no, I just go to Onyx. What's plan B? Oh, it's here? Okay, we're gonna go back to the truck. We'll drive over to plan B. We'll sleep at the trailhead tonight and we'll hike in tomorrow. Okay, plan B sucks. What's plan C? Okay, here it is. Back to the truck again, move spots. And it's like the fewer decisions I have to make, the less calories I have to burn in system 2, the more energy I will have left over for the decisions that I have no choice about making and that are absolutely mission critical to my success. The big takeaway from all of this stuff is that when you are running out of time and under pressure, your brain will naturally want to kick in to a quick, intuitive, emotionally driven decision-making process that you are not going to be fully in control of. And in a hunting situation, that is most likely not going to lead to ideal decisions. And that goes all the way back to why I said it was important to treat this like a job. The problem people have is they turn their once-a-year hunts into this huge, epic, movie-like thing in their brain, and it's going to be amazing, and we're going to have this awesome time, and I got to do everything perfect, and it's fail or succeed, and it's like very binary, and oh my God. And they just blow this thing way out of proportion. So before the hunt has even started, they've already created all this unnecessary pressure and anxiety. So you're already hamstringing yourself. You've already kicked over into system 1 before you even put boots on the ground because of how much artificial pressure you've created for yourself. So step back. It's okay to be excited to go on your hunt. It's okay to recognize this might be the only 2-week break I get from my family this year, and I'm super excited to get into the mountains and see what I'm capable of. Yes, that's phenomenal, but slow down. Remind yourself the thing that is going to contribute most to my success or failure is the quality of the decisions that I make while hunting. And the thing that I can do that will most greatly impact the quality of those decisions is slow down, take my time, alleviate pressure, and think clearly. All right, folks, those are some lessons from my first year of outfitting. I want to take a moment to thank every single person that took a chance on me this year. I do not take that lightly. Every single person who comes to hunt with me, I feel like I have a personal responsibility to give them a once in a lifetime experience. And I can't wait for what 2026 has to offer. The places we're going to go, the people that I get to hunt with, it's outstanding. So again, if you want any information about any of my hunts, you can reach out to me at jay@mindfulhunter.com. And as promised, I told you that if you stay tuned until the end, I was going to give you some details about this spotter. So do you find my reviews helpful? Do you like the fact that I have no financial obligation to any sponsors whatsoever, and the only thing I need to care about is delivering value to you, the end consumer? If you find that helpful and you want me to make more content, I need your support. And the way that you do that is you go to mindful-reviews.com. Pick any one of the subscription plans you want. They start as low as $5 a month. And as soon as you sign up, you will be automatically entered to win the SIG Oscar 6 image stabilized spotting scope. And again, I am going to extend the entry until the end of this week to give everybody one last chance to join. So as long as you sign up at mindful-reviews.com by midnight Pacific time On Friday, January 2nd, you will be automatically entered to win the spotting scope. All right, folks, if you can engage with the content in any way, shape, or form, like, comment, share, subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, thank you for tuning in.